Hi, guys. Right now, Marissa. It starts right now. Say hi. Say hi. Mercy's going to be joining us, but she is wide awake tonight. I hope everyone's doing well. Say hi. Welcome to Women's Wednesday. I want to give a couple minutes to have people join. Hope everyone's doing well. Say yeah. We hope everyone's having a good night. Kylie, that's what Frank's sister always says, that she looks just like him. I don't really see it. I really don't see either one of us in her. She sees herself. So I hope everyone's doing well. Say hi. Yeah, so Mercy had a late nap. So she, Laura, I'll have to look. I will have to look. I don't always see. I have a lot of messages still pending, and I'm still going through messages. And I actually something I wanted to talk about tonight was that I actually kind of just disconnected from my phone for 24 hours. And I still have a lot of messages because I don't always look at my messages, which I need to get better at. So, wait, is that Jessica? Jessica, is that you? Like Jessica, like my friend Jessica? Because I feel you have a different YouTube. If so, thank you, Shannon. I honestly did it an hour ago because I didn't have any makeup on. Say my little baby. Ah, that is Jessica. Oh, that's awesome, Sharon. I'm so glad to hear that. So look, everybody said that Sharon got some good news. She's getting hooked up with a publisher. So, and they're interested in her book. So, I hope, I pray that that goes really well for you, Sharon. That's awesome. Hey, we are doing good. Right, Merce? Say we're doing good. Thank you, Billy. I know, and you know what? I know that I still have messages, and there are times that I need to go through because there's times where I've been out and I'll open up a message even, and I didn't even read all of it, or I can't respond at that time because of something with Mercy. So I try to go back through then and see, which ones I need to respond to. What's up, Barn? I hope Heaven's doing well. Absolutely, Sharon. I'm so glad that you're able to come here and get all this support. Like, honestly, like it's great. What's up, Murph? Yeah, so I know that I do have messages that I have to go through, and like I said, I do apologize for people that I haven't responded to yet, and it's not that I don't want to. It's sometimes I'll open a message up and I'm just out and I can't read the whole entire thing, and then sometimes I even forget that I want to go back and reread it and respond appropriately, if that makes sense. So this one over here. So yeah, so Mercy, what are you doing? You're being so loud. So, oh, thank you very much, Barn. So, but yeah, I wanted to, I let everybody know earlier that, so as I've said before, I take advice from my sister-in-law. Oh, hey, Bristol, England. That's what's up. So, I take advice and I get support from my sister-in-law. And she always does things where she'll disconnect from her phone to try to, regroup and get regrounded. And so I did. I took a break from my phone. It was only 24 hours. I did only respond to like 2 text messages because I had to. Not that I had to, but I wanted to. But other than that, I didn't answer my phone. I didn't get on social media. I didn't do any of that. And it was just a way for me to kind of focus a little bit on my house, on my kids, on myself. And because I feel like this is with everybody, and I've talked to other people who feel the same way. I open my phone up for one thing, and then the next thing you know, I'm on it 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes go by, and I'm scrolling through Instagram at posts that are not even conducive. Like, I like to look at a lot of inspirational things or, just things like that. And then I'm looking at stuff that really, it's not even for me, and I don't know why I'm even on it. And I'm taking time away from my kids and time away from myself even. So, and I like social media, so don't get me wrong. I feel like it's a great way to connect with people. It's a great way to start businesses, to build businesses. It's a great way to get support. Most of my support, I will tell you, is from people through this channel, through people I've met through this channel, and I keep in touch with them through social media. So, in that aspect, I love social media. On the other aspect, there's some, parts, everything has its pros and cons. And there's times where I get too caught up and it takes time away from what I need to focus on. So, I have to be mindful of that too. Or if it doesn't have me feeling good, then that's a time that I need to maybe get off. So, yeah, Mercy's very talkative tonight because yes, it can get toxic. There are times that I'm, I want to say, I don't know how to put it right. There's, and I've talked about this before, there's a lot of beautiful, beautiful women on Instagram, and sometimes, but it's not so like real, like the ideal woman isn't a realistic, it's a very unrealistic expectations on women. And sometimes I get caught up in a little too, then I'll get a little too hard on myself. And then, so in that way, it can be very toxic. But in other ways, it can be very beneficial and very supportive. So, Jessica's a great one for that, Sharon. So definitely, she can do your hair, makeup. Listen, I want her to do my makeup too one of these days. Don't even think about it. That's so true, Pamela. Like, you're so right. Here comes my other daughter. You want to get in on here? No? Okay. So that is so true because, like I said, there's this time where I am wasting my energy on things that just is not good for me. So I definitely feel like I feel like you are kind of like what you will be, kind of like what you put your energy into. So like if, for me, depending on my mood, even if I'm listening to a lot of, inspirational stuff, a lot of positive affirmations, a lot of stuff like that, I will kind of be like that. And then same. If I'm listening to a lot of negative stuff, if I'm listening to, I hate to say it, but like I have some guilty pleasures. Like I like to watch Love and Hip Hop, and I like to watch, like those things like that. But I also feel like I'm not really benefiting from always watching things like that. Plus, too, I also feel like with those things, it kind of isn't always a good look as far as women go. Like I feel like it kind of, a lot of times in those relationships that are on those shows, it actually, yeah, I like the ratchet TV, right, Melissa? But I also feel like it kind of normalizes like men cheating on women and all that stuff. Like, women, especially, and that women should tolerate something like that. And for me, like, I feel like that's not a good thing. Like, I definitely don't feel like that should be accepted or normalized or anything like that. Yeah, thanks for that, Murph. But yes, yeah, and I agree that it's definitely scripted and stuff like that. But I definitely don't condone those kind of relationships, or feel like a woman should have to tolerate something like that. So, in that aspect of it, no, and I like the Kardashians. I do like the Kardashians too. So, but it's just like a guilty pleasure kind of shows. But I definitely like Love and Hip Hop, though. I do like Love and Hip Hop and the Real Housewives. So, but I was just like kind of a couple of days ago really watching that, and I was more or less thinking about that too. So, mercy. So I have holes in my sweatpants, and they're there purposely, but she keeps reaching down to grab these holes in my sweatpants, and it's really driving me crazy right now. Yeah, I do like those. I like those kind of shows, but anyhow. But I also feel like too, it definitely, I don't want to, waste my whole day, watching stuff like that, even though sometimes I do. I'm going to stand up for her because I've never watched Chrisley knows best. So, but I guess, that's kind of like, I don't know. I feel like everybody does, like, people will talk about, oh, you watch this or that. And sometimes I'm like, well, yeah, why not? But, oh, thank you, Murph. Thanks, Murph. Mercy, stop that. She's like, so she's like just so strong willed, literally so strong willed. So, making shopping carts I don't purchase houses. Right, Melissa? Right. But and listen, I watch Impractical Jokers too. I love that show, but I also feel like that kind of stuff, the comedy can honestly, if you're having a bad day or something, that can also, cheer you up. I definitely feel like a good comedy can do that too. What's up, Boost Lady? How are you? Heaven, how are you feeling? I hope you're feeling well. Yeah, right. And right. Like sometimes we do need it, but not consistently. Yeah, definitely. I completely agree. So, but you know, hi. Hi. So it's been fun though watching Mercy and just being able to watch her grow. And I guess sometimes when I start watching that stuff or get on social media though, I do notice that I'm just not present. I'm not really present with her and or with my other children. And sometimes I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I don't want to be present because sometimes there's a lot of chaos going on here. We got a lot of kids and different ages, and I feel definitely with COVID and not being able to get out as much and not being able to do as much. These kids are literally, sometimes they drive me crazy. But on the other hand, it is important to be present with them. And that's honestly a blessing that I get to have from being clean. Jessica, yeah, come and visit. Come and visit. It'll be great. You'll be like wanting to leave. but like I was saying, like that is a blessing that I get to have from being clean. Because I wasn't always able to be present. I would be present, but I would be in another world, or I was on a mission, secretly on a mission. But I just want to, welcome everybody that's here. I saw Murph was, posting some stuff. Mercy. I just welcome. This is Wednesday night. This is Women's Wednesday. It's not exclusively for women, but I usually talk about women issues or anything like that. But everybody is also welcome. We just have a very positive community here. Definitely be very supportive for everybody here. So, we definitely don't want any negative talk or, anything like that. So I definitely appreciate all the positivity here, because honestly, mostly everybody is. And mostly everybody in here, we definitely know each other from this community, and we're all supportive of one another. It is about addiction. I don't only speak of addiction, but this is definitely addiction, whether you're an addict or your loved one is, or just even want to get pretty much informed of addiction. So, that's kind of where we're at. We just want to help normalize it, bring awareness to it, bring awareness to addicts. So, Frank he is short barbers right now, and he's been working even more than he already does. And he has a bad knee. So he came home and his knee it's like pretty swollen, and his knee's really bothering him. So he like just went and laid down to put his leg up. So, I'm sure he definitely needs to go get looked at, because, he's not getting any younger, and it being a joint, and he's on his, he's standing in one spot all day, I know, like when I would be at work before, I would be standing all day, but I would be walking, right. Yeah. Like I would be walking. So I feel like that's a little different than I can't imagine just standing in one spot and literally, yeah, Jessica. And I was like, if you're a barber or a beautician or have any job that you just have to stand in one spot, for 12 hours a day, it's rough. And he already has a bad knee from, yeah, he put it up and he took some ibuprofen and put some like Bengay on it. So I missed what Heaven said. Wait, Barn, you guys are in Florida? Yeah, because listen, I want to move to Florida, so I will definitely come. Oh, hell no, Jessica. I couldn't do it in heels. I used to work 16-hour shifts barely in sneakers, and I would wear support stockings because, especially when I was pregnant, I had to wear the support stockings that like came up all the way over the belly. So yeah, it's been bothering him though the last couple weeks. I think just because he's been working so much. So hey, from Ontario, Canada. Thank you very much, Shannon. I appreciate that. Honda Mommy. You guys are like changing your pitch. What are they called? Your pictures? Oh, nothing. His knee's just bothering him, Barn. He's getting old. I don't want to say that, but he's 40, so, and he does have a knee brace. I don't know if he's using it or not, but, oh, your avatar. That's right. People are changing their avatar, and I don't know it's them. So, but I know Mercy's like she's getting tired, but I don't know exactly what I kind of thought of a topic to talk about, but then I thought it might be a little too personal. Because I wanted to say, not everything is for everybody. I know a lot of times we just get on here and kind of like, shoot the shit kind of thing. But then there's other times where we talk and we're a little more personal, and I'll share a little more things in my story that are personal. So I kind of wanted to talk about it, but I wasn't, I'm still not sure. And I'm like saying it, but I feel like now I kind of have to say it because, I wanted to talk about kind of like, I guess in a more appropriate way, but healing. Tommy, I didn't say he was old. I'm like saying he's getting older. Maybe I did say he was old, but so I wanted, because it's Women's Wednesday, and I know that there are some men in here, but yeah, message me, Tammy. I would love to join. So yes, Laura, that is what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about sex, and not only just sex, but I know a lot of women have also, a lot of times in these women's stories, that Frank and I have met, and women living out in the street, a lot of times sexual assault is part of their story. And, I honestly wanted to talk about like going through something like that and then having to heal from that, then being sober and clean, and honestly how that can honestly too interrupt then how it would just to have a normal sex life after that, you know, to have a healthy sex life, I wanted to say. And it was just a topic that I thought of. So he said peace. You know, and it's not, and you know, and men, you know, I'm just saying, because I know men, you know, have also, you know, maybe have experienced things too. I'm not saying this is just I'm not saying that this is just for women, because I do know men that have gone through sexual assault, but it's not the same. Yeah, and somebody said, you know, it be. I believe it can be. I believe that, you know, you definitely need to be, I want to say open about it, but I don't want to say open about it for everybody. And you know, maybe that's something for one-on-one. So, you know, but I just, you know, hear so many women talk about that. And when they're talking about it, there's no emotion on their face as they're talking about it. It's almost like, yeah, that kind of is expected and comes with the territory. But, you know, no, that's, I feel like that shouldn't, you know, it shouldn't be like that. And, you know, to numb all of that is definitely not dealing with it. It's definitely snowball effect. I know you have a lot to say, right? Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. And I know men have done that. Definitely. I'm not saying that. That's why I wasn't saying this is exclusively for women. I was just saying this is Women's Wednesday, and to have a normal sex life, though, a healthy sex life after that, I definitely feel like is important too. Yeah, the police, yes, and I've heard that time and time again, you know, that, you know, women are raped down there and the police don't help. And it does. It just seems like a blankness, yes, when they share. And, you know, it's so sad to me, so sad. And it just, you know, really, it breaks my heart to have to see those women when they're talking about that, and to know, like, you know, what happened, and to not even, to just talk about it, you know, like nothing. And yes, definitely. Oh yeah, I agree. I agree, Tammy. I you know, and that's, yeah, and I think it's important. You know, I definitely think drugs have to go with the numbness, because obviously there's, you know, things that happen that you're numbing, you know, you're numbing the pain with the drugs. So I'm sure, you know, and I know for a fact, because I have done that personally. Excuse me, I'm going to try to lay her down in her seat. You're okay. You know, so I definitely feel like, you know, women that have gone through that, I definitely feel like there is, you know, I definitely feel like you can have a healthy sex life after that. I'm not saying it's something that would come overnight or anything like that. But I definitely feel like dealing with that trauma, and getting help for that, you can definitely move past. You can definitely learn to move past that. And some people it is opening up and talking about that. It is, Sandy. It is very sad that, that's what addiction does to people. It definitely makes them risk things. I mean, there were times in my life that I was doing things, that, I could have went to jail. I could have died. And every time I was getting high, I could have died every single time. And I didn't care. And there were times that I wish I did. Thank God I didn't now. Thank God I don't think that way. But yeah, and definitely to feel like, oh, well, that's good, Laura. I know, too, I feel like even to get to have a relationship, after that, with, with the opposite sex, or the same sex even, I feel like that could be hard to have an intimate relationship. But it just, I guess going back and looking at some of the interviews, and then, seeing women talk about, like, there's been a handful of women talk about how they, were just, raped, and there's just no emotion on their face as they talk about it. And it's like, damn, that is a traumatic, devastating event that happened. And then, to see them talk about it just like that, and to share just like, just like it was another day, it is heartbreaking. That's right, yeah, Cassie, I completely agree. There are times that, yeah, that you don't care. You don't care. As long as you're getting what you want. I'm sure there were times that, maybe I had to, obviously just tune things out and do what I had to do to, get another one. And, so I just feel like, that though is something that, it just made me think about things a little bit, and to go through those events, and then to try to have a healthy, sex life after that, because I feel like, I feel like, sex isn't meant to be, a traumatic event. Sex isn't meant to do something to get what you want. It should be an intimate, loving thing between two consenting people. And, and I feel like the way that addiction, or whatever the case may be, ruin, how that affects people, it shouldn't, be like that. But I do believe that, there are things that can be done to help that, to get to the point where you can have a intimate, sex life with somebody, and consenting. So, because I feel like that's also very important, and it's very important in a relationship. It's important, I know for Frank and I, it's an important part of our marriage. So, for that, I definitely feel like, question, is there because yeah, I definitely think that therapy is part, I mean, every rehab, if that's what you're saying, every rehab that I have been to, therapy has been part of it. Um but I honestly feel like then when you're on your own, you're not left to go to therapy. You're not left to, I definitely feel like there's a difference of being just staying clean and not doing or recovery. Because, recovery is obviously we're recovering ourselves. We're kind of working on ourselves as a whole. We're not just, and sometimes there are times where I am just staying clean. I am not really working on myself. I'm kind of have a bad attitude. I might even be back in kind of a relapse mode, but I'm not picking up, if that makes sense. But then there are times that I am recovering. So I am, um, you know, I'm working on myself to grow better, to be a better person. Yeah, Lisa. I I yeah, I have seen that. I have, yeah. So I'm sorry, I'm just trying to read some of these. I don't know, but it was just something that crossed my mind. And I guess it was just something that I wanted to speak about. And it wasn't that I wanted to make a big deal about it or anything like that, but I just wanted to speak about it and just to, because I definitely think it's possible to, because after, hearing their stories and hearing the things that they went through with their trauma, and then thinking about what, could they have and I definitely believe that, it is possible. And yes, I definitely think it takes time. Um, my drug of choice was opiates, mostly heroin, but any opiates. So yeah, I definitely believe that this is a form of therapy. I definitely feel like, for me it is. I hope, other people take it, and get something out of it, because I feel like I wouldn't do this if other people weren't, because I definitely want to help other people. For sure. I mean, I just feel like that to me is so important. And I know it's so important to Frank also, because I feel like that's what helps us stay clean as well. So thank you, Karen. So I guess, I don't know. I didn't want it to be uncomfortable, but I know it is an uncomfortable thing. But, I definitely feel like that is part of recovery, though, as well. Yeah. Yeah, you definitely help yourself when you're helping others. No, I have not gone back and ever watched. And the only time I went back, Tammy, was when we did that giveaway, and I had to go back and watch for everybody's numbers, because we did it with that number thing, and that was. I honestly feel uncomfortable when I have to watch myself on this screen. Murph. So thank you, Donna. So I agree too, Tara. I didn't want to, I guess I didn't want to make it too uncomfortable. And also, I guess I didn't want anybody to feel, pushed away by that either. So, oh, that's good, God's child. So, yes, and self-love is so important because I honestly feel like um without, loving yourself, I feel like the same way that I love my daughters, and I look at my daughters and I look at them and I think, like, you are too valuable. Your life is too valuable for you to want to ever do something to, and my sons, but I'm just too valuable for you to do something like that. And you are too good to, they're too good to do drugs. We all are, but that's how I need to think too about myself. The same way that I look at my daughters and the same way that I talk to my daughters, I need to talk to myself like that, even though it's hard. It's harder to talk to yourself like that, but I have gotten better over the years because I feel like if sometimes I have to be my own best friend because sometimes it's just me, if that makes sense, and I can be my own worst enemy. I definitely can be my own worst enemy. So why can't I be my own best friend though, too? Because there are times that my head goes to a different place and I have to tell myself, talk myself into being like, no, Rachel, you are too good for that. You know, you are a mother, you are a good mother, you are, a worthy woman. And I definitely feel like I have to, yes, I have to uplift myself because just the same way I can uplift myself, I can put myself down really quick too. And I don't want to do that anymore. I did that almost all of my life and it got me nowhere good. So, the same way I'd hype my best friend up, I feel like sometimes I got to do that to myself. The same way I would talk to my daughters, I have to do that for myself. Because like I said, if I can be my own worst enemy, why can't I be my own best friend? And I feel like sometimes people take it like, oh, that's really like a vain thing, but I don't feel that way. I don't feel like it has anything, to do like that. I just feel like, right, Jessica? And vice versa, you do too. So I feel like, the same way that, I hype Jessica up, I got to do that for me. And it's not a vain thing or anything like that, but it's just something to get yourself better and to be better. I feel like we too are too used to like talking bad about ourselves. And like major, like my son, when he started doing that, where he's like, oh, I'm so stupid. And I'm like, I have to stop him and make him, okay, now tell me something good about yourself. Because I want to correct his negative with a positive. And definitely, and don't get me wrong, there are times that, I don't want to say this is all the time. This is just something that I practice. And I try to practice because it isn't always. So, and I feel like, if we teach our children that it's better, that's why I try very hard not to let my daughters see me when I'm feeling self-conscious or, feeling in a type like that kind of a way, because then I feel like for them, it's like, oh, well, my mom talked that way about herself, and it's more accepted, but it shouldn't be. Yeah, time lapse. I completely agree. Life is way too short, way too short. And unfortunately, it took me many years to realize that. It took me many years to realize that life was too short. That, and also that it's like to allow certain things. Kathy wrote, yes, we did see Nicole. Frank talked to Nicole over the weekend. So, but, oh, well, that, Tara, good, because that makes me feel good. I'm glad because I want every woman to leave here feeling a little bit better than what they were feeling. So, yeah, and it's just crazy because I, you know, I guess it took me a long time to realize. I would always hear people say, well, I just cut that person off and I cut this. And I would be like, how? I don't understand how people can just, cut people off. And I guess for me, then I realized, yeah, I can do that. But I don't have to let it be in like a rude way. I can just, if somebody is not healthy for me and not good for me, I don't have to put myself around them. Um, because it's definitely one of those things where like you are who hang out with. So I definitely feel like you can choose too who you want to be around. And if that person's not good for you, like life is way too short. And I feel like time is something that you can never get back. So I feel like that's the biggest disrespect too. If somebody wastes your time, because like you're never getting that back. And I'm not just talking about relationships. I'm just talking, or I can't even think of the word. Oh, help me out. Like a significant other. Thank you. So, I'm talking about all relationships in your life, whether it be your father, your mother, your cousins, your sisters, your anybody. I'm just saying, like that is, um, I guess, well, it was speaking of relationships. I talk about my dad on here sometimes, and it was funny because I got a text message from him saying that hi, how are you? I miss you. I saw your kids on Facebook, and I hope you realize, he said, I hope you know how blessed you are. Because how blessed you are, they're beautiful. And then he was like, oh, I'm planning to get the COVID vaccine, so maybe we can get together after that. Now, I have shared on here before, about the relationship with my father, and he is somebody that I can only spend a certain amount of time with, because he doesn't make me feel good as a person. And he is somebody who is kind of like that in my life. I can love him from a distance, but I don't have to put myself in around him if he's not making me feel good or if he's not helping me grow as a person. So after, I got his message, I still haven't answered him, but I did get a call from my mom talking about something else. And, I said to my mom, it really bothers me because what I wanted to say was, well, do you know how blessed you are to have them as your grandchildren, but you don't even know them. Like you don't know them as people. And it was like, but then I also feel like by saying that, I'm also opening up a door for him and inviting him, I guess, kind of like in my life, which I kind of like, I'm okay with where we're at, if that makes sense, even though I do, I guess, somewhat still get bothered by things like that. And my mom was like, just let it go. Like, it's fine. Like, it is what it is. And, she definitely helps me. Cause my mom is like like we'll talk about the day ones in here. Well, she is my like day one. She is my, besides my husband, she is, I feel like, my biggest fan though too. She's just somebody that wants to see me do good, and she's always there for me through anything. And she's definitely shown me tough love, but she's she's been wonderful in my life. And anyhow, but I let it go. And she's like, just reply and be nice. I didn't reply. And you do only get one dad. But my dad also chose to not really be there either. And when he is around me, he's definitely, I can love him from a distance. And he can be okay with that, and I'm okay with that, because I kind of feel like he is okay with that too. But yeah, so I mean, I get like, yes, you only have, and I do love my dad, but like I said, he's just somebody that's not healthy in my life for me. He just doesn't understand everything, and sometimes it's like, to no fault of his own. I feel like he truly is just that way. He just doesn't understand, and that's just how it is. I would love for my mom to come. I would love for my mom to do an interview or come on here, because there's a lot of things that, like, you guys know, and I honestly feel like a lot of things that even people in here have gone through. I know that there's some grandparents in here raising their grandchildren due to addiction, and I feel like my mom would be a great person to talk to about those things, because there were times in my life that there were times in my life that she had to raise my older kids. And I feel like she definitely, she would definitely be a person that I feel would be great for that. Yeah. And like, well, thank you for understanding that relationship, because I don't want to sound like, but my dad's just very, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's just somebody, like I said, that, you know, we can love from a distance. And see, I'm sorry, Billy, that, that you felt like that, and, I mean, I'm glad that your mom never did anything wrong, and it's hard to understand like that. I used to feel like that with my mom, but I do feel like my mom tried to understand. Like yeah, Heaven, I completely agree. So, my mom tried to understand. My mom tried to put myself and try to put herself in my shoes, because there were times that, you know, my mom was like, I don't understand, because I know you love your kids more than anything. So the fact that you can't do this for them blew her mind. But it was like, I didn't, I was like, until I had to understand that I had to do this for myself, then I think she, was a little more relatable. And listen, she was somebody that always tried to go out of her way to understand. Every time, a lot of times, I don't want to say every time, but a lot of times when I would go to a rehab or something, she was there for family day. She came for the therapy, and she was the one person that was the relationship that I tried to work on, because, in my life at that time, I wasn't married and anything like that. So, she was the person that it was like, I kind of felt like me and her were a partnership in raising my kids at one time because of me being an addict. So, yeah, I definitely feel like, yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. And I'm very blessed to have a wonderful mother. I'm very, very blessed. Like, she's definitely very selfless. But sometimes, to fault. I definitely see that though too, because she's so selfless sometimes that I feel like she wears herself thin trying to do so many things for other people too. Yeah, my mom is my best friend now, but when I was a kid, you listen, she would always tell me, and this is, I tell my kids the same thing. She would say, I am not your friend. I am not here to be your friend. I will, because your friends are your friends. I am your mom, and I will tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And so, forever, that's what my mom told me. And that's what I tell my kids now. I'm, even though I'm sure as they grow, it could be a different story. Yeah, Honda mommy. That's what I tell my girls too. Cause it's funny because they're always like, Mom, are you my they like tease me about it because I'm always like, I am not your friend, I am your mom. So Melissa. Yeah, and I definitely love how in here too, like all the moms, like there's no like shaming, like there's no mom shaming or anything like that. Cause I definitely agree, like we can all raise our kids, differently, but it doesn't have to be wrong too. Like maybe a way that I'm raising my kids isn't a way that somebody else raised their kids, but yet, we're gonna raise great kids, so it doesn't have to be. We can raise them differently. It doesn't have to be, but doesn't mean that it's wrong. Yeah, I agree, but unfortunately, I do know, sometimes, sometimes that's not always because I mean I can't lie. There's times where I'm like, "Ugh, it would be nice to be my kid's friend, and I guess kind of we do that, but at the end of the day, there's times that they're pissed off at me and I have to be okay with that because, am I always okay with that? No. But, sometimes I'm like, all right, well, that's just, I'm parenting. And they're pissed at me and then they don't talk to me and I get attitude for days upon days. And, and that's not always a good feeling, but I know in the long run, they're learning something from it. Right. And they know like I love them, definitely. But they also know like, yeah, they definitely have consequences because I didn't read what Honda Mommy wrote. I can, but I am gonna be logging off. I kind of, yeah, Diane, never too old for that. Never ever. So I definitely appreciate everybody being here tonight and I appreciate all of you guys. Right, Anne. Do I see my order? I'm going to answer this real quick. Yes, I do see my older kids, Natalie. So my oldest daughters, they live with me. They have for a very long time. I got custody back of my kids that we all went through that. My older three. My daughters have lived with me, but my oldest son, who he'll be 19 in a couple months. He's he did not live with me. He lived with my mom because he chose to. But we have a good relationship now, so I'll take that because. But that relationship was definitely strained through my addiction because of what I chose to do. Now the relationship I have with my daughters is a little different because they don't remember as much and they didn't go through as much. So just wanted to answer that real quick. But so I just want to thank everybody, and I thank everybody for joining, and I hope everybody has a great week. I'll be back next Wednesday with this again. I think Frank and I might go live over the weekend, but we'll see. And I just encourage everybody to talk to themselves like they are talking to their best friend. You are too, Murph. Thank you very much. I just encourage all of you guys to talk to yourselves like that. And I just want to let everybody know and hear they are great. They're awesome. You guys are doing an amazing job. And, I love you all and thank you for all the positivity in here and all your guys' encouraging words and everything. And have a great week. Thank you.